My dear friends, let me begin by asking you a simple question. When someone says Shiva, what comes to your mind? A blue-throated yogi? A powerful destroyer? A god sitting silently on Mount Kailash? But what if I tell you Shiva is not someone you simply worship? My dear friends, let me ask you something very simple. Have you ever felt that life is too loud, too fast, too demanding? From the moment we wake up to the moment we sleep, there is noise. Notifications, expectations, comparisons, competition. And somewhere in this noise we lose ourselves. That is why understanding Shiva is not just a spiritual idea, it is a survival guide for modern life. Shiva represents stillness in chaos. Imagine this, a powerful being, capable of immense destruction, yet sitting calmly in meditation. What does that tell us? Real power is not in shouting. Real power is not in proving. Real power is in controlling yourself when you have the ability to react. Anyone can lose their temper. Anyone can respond with anger. But to remain centered when everything around you is shaking, that is strength. That is Shiva. We often think destruction is negative. But tell me, if you want to build a new house, don't you first remove the old structure? If you want to grow, don't you first let go of old habits? Shiva as the destroyer does not destroy life. He destroys what no longer serves you, your insecurity, your jealousy, your fear, your ego. Sometimes the biggest blessing in life is not what we gain, but what we are forced to release. Look at the simplicity of Shiva. No palace, no ornaments of luxury. Just ash, a tiger skin and deep contentment. What a powerful message! We spend our entire life trying to impress others. Bigger house, better phone, more followers, more validation. But contentment is not outside. It is cultivated within. When you are comfortable with who you are, the world's opinion loses its power over you. And then there is the beautiful symbolism of the crescent moon on his head. The moon changes phases, sometimes full, sometimes half, sometimes barely visible, just like our life. Sometimes success is bright and visible. Sometimes we feel invisible. But Shiva wears the changing moon with grace. Why? Because change is natural. Nothing is permanent. Not success, not failure, not praise, not criticism. If we truly understand this, we stop overreacting to temporary situations. The river Ganga flowing from his hair represents knowledge and purity. Knowledge should flow, not stagnate. When we stop learning, we stop growing. When we become rigid in our thinking, life becomes rigid with us. But when we stay open, humble, and willing to evolve, we remain fresh like a flowing river. My dear friends, the real meaning of Shiva is transformation. It is about sitting quietly with yourself and asking, what within me needs cleansing? What within me needs courage? What within me needs to dissolve? Spirituality is not about escaping responsibilities. It is about handling responsibilities with awareness. You don't need to go to the mountains to find Shiva. You find Shiva when you choose patience over anger. You find Shiva when you choose silence over unnecessary argument. You find Shiva when you let go of something that hurts your peace. Every time you choose growth over ego, you are walking the path of Shiva. So let us not just chant the name mechanically. Let us live its meaning. Let us become calm in chaos, balanced in success, grounded in failure, and compassionate in strength. Because when you master yourself, you master your world. And when that happens, you don't just understand Shiva. You embody it. My dear friends, have you noticed something about life? We spend years trying to control the outside world, our career, our relationships, our reputation, but we rarely pause to understand the world within. And that is where the true meaning of Shiva becomes so powerful. Shiva is not merely a figure to admire. Shiva is a reminder to master the inner landscape. Think about this carefully. When something goes wrong, what is our first reaction? We blame, we complain, we justify. Very few of us introspect. Shiva, sitting in deep meditation, teaches us the art of inner observation. Meditation is not about escaping life. It is about understanding life more clearly. When the mind becomes quiet, clarity naturally arises. And when clarity arises, better decisions follow. Shiva is often shown with a serpent around his neck. Now, the serpent usually symbolizes fear, danger, or hidden threats. But instead of running away from it, Shiva wears it comfortably. What does this tell us? Fear will always be present in life. Uncertainty will always exist. The question is not whether fear disappears. The question is, can you stay steady despite it? When you learn to keep your fears under control, rather than letting them control you, you step into strength. Another beautiful message lies in the ash covering Shiva's body. Ash reminds us that everything material eventually turns to dust. Our achievements, our possessions, even this physical body, nothing is permanent. This is not a depressing thought, it is a liberating one. When you truly understand impermanence, you stop clinging, you stop overreacting, you stop building your entire identity on temporary things. Instead, you focus on values, character, and contribution, things that leave a lasting impact. Let us also reflect on detachment. Many people misunderstand detachment as indifference. But detachment does not mean you don't care. It means you care deeply, yet you are not controlled by the outcome. Shiva represents this perfect balance, fully present yet inwardly free, engaged yet unattached. Imagine working hard without anxiety consuming you. Imagine loving someone without constant fear of losing them. That is the power of healthy detachment. Life will test you. There will be moments when people misunderstand you. There will be situations where your efforts are not appreciated. In those moments, the easiest thing to do is react impulsively. But the wiser choice is to respond with maturity. Shiva's calm presence teaches us emotional discipline. When emotions are managed, relationships improve. When reactions are controlled, regrets reduce. And let us not forget the rhythm of the damru, the small drum associated with Shiva. It represents the rhythm of creation. Life has its own rhythm too. There are times of growth, times of pause, times of endings, and times of new beginnings. If you resist the rhythm, you suffer. If you move with it, you evolve. Trusting the process is part of spiritual intelligence. My dear friends, the meaning of Shiva is deeply practical. It is about transforming anger into awareness, fear into courage, attachment into balance, and noise into silence. It is about choosing growth over comfort and wisdom over impulse. You may not sit on a mountain in meditation, but you can create moments of silence in your daily routine. You may not wear ash on your body, but you can remember the temporary nature of things. You may not hold a trident, but you can balance your body, mind, and soul. And when you begin to live like this, with awareness, courage, and calmness, something beautiful happens. You stop chasing peace. You become peace. My dear friends, let us go a little deeper today. We often look for inspiration outside, in books, in leaders, in motivational talks, but the greatest transformation begins when we look within. The essence of Shiva is not about mythology alone, it is about psychology. It is about understanding how the human mind works and learning to rise above its limitations. Have you ever noticed how quickly the mind reacts? Someone says one negative word, and we replay it all day. One failure happens, and we label ourselves as incapable. One rejection comes, and we start doubting our worth. The mind can become our greatest enemy if left undisciplined. Shiva's meditative posture reminds us that mastery of the mind is the foundation of mastery in life. When you sit quietly, even for a few minutes, you begin to observe your thoughts. At first, it feels uncomfortable. The mind jumps from one idea to another. But slowly awareness grows, and with awareness comes choice. You realize you don't have to believe every thought you think. You don't have to react to every emotion you feel. That gap between stimulus and response, that is where your power lies. Shiva also represents simplicity in a world that glorifies complexity. Today we complicate everything. Relationships are complicated. Careers are complicated. Even happiness seems complicated. But often, life becomes heavy because we carry unnecessary baggage, grudges from the past, anxieties about the future, comparisons with others. When you let go of these mental burdens, life becomes lighter. Not because problems disappear, but because your perception changes. There is also a deep message in Shiva's solitude. Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness is feeling empty when alone. Solitude is feeling complete when alone. Many of us are afraid to sit with ourselves. We constantly seek distraction, scrolling, watching, talking, anything to avoid silence. But silence is where self-discovery happens. When you become comfortable in your own company, you stop depending on external validation. Think about how often we chase approval. We measure our success by how many people clap for us. But applause is temporary. Today they praise you, tomorrow they criticize you. If your happiness depends on public opinion, your peace will always be unstable. Shiva teaches inner anchoring. When you are anchored within, the storms outside cannot shake you easily. Life will give you roles, professional, parent, friend, partner. Play these roles sincerely. Give your best. But remember, you are more than your roles. When roles change, your identity should not collapse. This awareness protects you from emotional extremes. And then comes compassion. True strength is gentle. The one who has conquered himself does not need to dominate others. When you are secure within, you naturally become more patient, more understanding, more kind. Strength and softness can coexist. Authority and humility can coexist. This harmony is spiritual maturity. My dear friends, the journey of understanding Shiva is ultimately the journey of understanding yourself. It is about destroying what weakens you and nurturing what strengthens you. It is about replacing reaction with reflection, noise with silence, ego with awareness. You may not realize it immediately, but every small effort towards self-control, every moment of patience, every act of forgiveness is a step toward inner awakening. Transformation does not happen overnight. It happens daily through conscious choices. So do not rush this journey. Sit with yourself, reflect, grow. Improve one habit at a time. Strengthen your inner world, and the outer world will automatically align. Because the real power you are searching for is not somewhere far away. It has always been within you.